Alright guys, trying to get adjusted here. I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about cooking fuels because not all cooking fuels are created equally, especially when it comes to being able to use them in a cold weather environment. The reason this is important that I bring it up is because I use butane a lot. I have this Coleman butane stove, and this butane fuel here is a really good cooking fuel for warmer weather. However, once butane gets to about 31 degrees Fahrenheit, it no longer vaporizes because butane boils at 31.6. I would have to double check that. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere right around 31.6 degrees. So basically, if you see ice on anything, if there's ice on water or there's frost or anything like that, and you know that it's close to freezing, butane is out. It will not vaporize. I can plug this canister in the stove, and the pressure that was already in the can, it would light and it would burn for a moment, and then it would go out, but it would no longer vaporize. So the can would never repressurize, and essentially, even though it's a full canister, I'm out of fuel. All right? So you really have to watch your thermometer, or make sure that there's no ice on anything. If you've got frost even, butane is out, okay? All right, now, denatured alcohol. This is a really good fuel source. It'll burn in almost any weather. It's what I use in my red camp alcohol burners. I run denatured in it. And denatured alcohol burns really well. It will even light in cold weather. However, the fuel needs to be warmed up really good before it will prime and bloom properly. So it takes a lot more fuel to cook in cold weather on denatured alcohol because your burn is 2 or even 3 times longer to accomplish something such as getting water hot enough to make an instant meal, or boiling water for purification purposes so that you can make it safe to drink. Okay, but an alcohol stove like this still gets pretty warm compared to something like sterno or chafing fuels. Okay, chafing fuels such as sterno fuel, they only get up to 175 degrees Fahrenheit maximum, so technically just hot enough really to purify water and to kill off everything in water, because even Giardia and Cryptosporidia die at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So they do get hot enough to get your water purified if you have to. But they're going to be good for only making instant meals, like instant mashed potatoes and things of that nature. Matter of fact, on sterno fuel, it's almost impossible to even cook ramen, okay, on sterno. So you might want to consider that. It will light in all weather. And if you want to make a hot drink, cup of cocoa, something like that, sterno is going to be just fine. It will light in any weather. I don't care if it's, 50 below zero. Your sterno fuels and your denatured alcohol will continue to work for you. Now, white gas, okay? White gas is right up there with propane as far as a fuel that's very dependable that you can count on, such as this my Coleman dual fuel 533. I run gasoline in here. I also run white gas. It's not really a dual fuel. This is actually a quad fuel stove, or a tri-fuel stove at the very least, because, I have ran denatured alcohol in my Coleman dual fuel 533, and denatured alcohol also burns just fine. So white gas is going to get you down to 40 below zero before it's no longer an efficient fuel for you to burn. So that's quite cold. The best that you're going to get is propane. Something like I'm going to run through my Peak 1 here by Coleman. Runs on propane canisters. I believe it can run on a few different canisters, isobutane and propane. But this stove I use as a propane stove because propane will get me down to 44 degrees below zero and still be very efficient and burn clean. So propane is by far the best go-to if you're going to use any kind of a liquid fuel option for camping or for bushcraft or survival, whatever. Now, the absolute best that you can get, which we don't have access to, would be methane, okay? Because methane vaporizes, and methane's boiling point is something like 279 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. So methane will get you down very, very low. But until we can go buy methane canisters for our methane stoves, which would probably burn ungodly hot, methane is out. However, I also burn white gas and everything in this stove. Well, white gas and gasoline. This is a US SMP circa 1979 military issue wood stove, or a gas stove rather, and it's a very good stove. I like this stove very much. Works exactly the same way as my 533, and you just have to crank this sucker up and it gets really hot, and it's very good. It cooks very well. Alright, but now propane is a good option for, like I said, I can't always have an open flame. I can't always just build a fire in a fire pit, okay? Where I live, the wind is a huge factor. Everything's always dry, and most of the time we're under a burn ban, and I can't even light my charcoal grill unless it is a gas grill, and even then only at certain times. So an open fire is just out. That's why you guys don't see me out here doing a lot of camp cooking on an open fire like a lot of other outdoorsmen. However, when I can, I have a little Lixada twig stove that breaks down and folds flat. This is a very good option for me because it doesn't take very much fuel, and I can cook almost anything on it. And of course, a twig stove is going to burn, you know, when you're burning wood, it's going to burn in any condition as long as the wood is dry. Other than that, I also have a Rory Tory, which is a wood gasifier, and it does the same thing the twig stove does, except this burns smokeless because it gets so hot that it reburns its own carbon emissions, and it burns very, very clean. So I can use this stove in a situation where maybe I'm out and I don't want to be seen. I don't want anybody seeing a smoke plume and knowing my location. A gasifier like this, once it's lit and really going, it burns so cleanly that you don't leave smoke, and that is a really big benefit. And I get really bad migraines from smoke anyway, from wood smoke, like severe migraines, and this stove, this prevents that, and I'm very grateful that I have this. This is a purchase that I would make again 10 times over if I had to. This is the only wood gasifier that I own, is the Rory Tory, but it is a very good stove, and there are some higher end options out there that are probably better, but this serves my purposes absolutely fine. Okay guys, just remember, when it comes to cooking fuels in cold weather, you've really got to be careful of what you choose. Denatured alcohol is going to be harder to light when the temperature gets down into, you know, the single digits and the below zeros, but it will light, it will burn. However, it's not going to burn as efficiently, and it's going to increase your cook times and things like that. Butane under 32 degrees basically is trash. May as well not even bother. Propane is your best bet. However, it does kind of suck having to take propane bottles with you. Alright guys, just a quick recap. Remember, the butane's going to get you down to 32 degrees at the very most. I probably wouldn't use butane below 40 degrees Fahrenheit if I had a choice. Isobutane is going to get you down to 11 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit before it fails. However, I probably wouldn't use isobutane below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Denatured alcohol is going to be a good all-around fuel. It will be harder to light and to get your stove to prime and to bloom in colder weather. However, it will fire for you. it's going to increase your cook time and you're going to go through a little more fuel. However, denatured alcohol and gel fuels like sterno fuel is denatured alcohol. It's just in a gel form. Will not fail you. Propane is going to get you down to, negative 44 degrees Fahrenheit is where propane's boiling point is. You're going to be pretty much golden down to 30 degrees below zero. Other than that, guys, you're going to be looking at burning wood. Like I said, you can't really go wrong burning wood. And it's going to, as long as your wood is dry and your tinder is dry and everything like that, you're pretty much golden on that. And a twig stove is a really good option for that. Or wood gasifier such as the Rory Tory that I showed you is also going to be a really good stove because it burns very hot if you need a lot of heat and very little smoke. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. Reach over there, hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload videos in the future. And questions and comments, drop those down below. Thank you very much for your views and your support, guys. And I'll get another video out as soon as I can. Have a good night.